Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, we shall start with our final session for today, and the title of the session is Voices from the Real Economy. This session shall provide an opportunity to present a variety of strategies that are being implemented at various levels to tackle sustainable development challenges and decent work solutions. It's interesting to say, did you know that around 55% of all workers in developing countries were engaged in vulnerable employment in 2013? It's something that really makes you think about. Our distinguished panel will explore the priorities in the area of employment and decent work for different stakeholders and policies needed to promote employment creation and decent work for the achievement of sustainable development. So I'm pleased to announce that Dr. Michael Schenk, Director of Media Strategy at Climate Nexus and Senior Fellow at the Just Jobs Network, will be the moderator this afternoon of this panel, Voices from the Real Economy. And it is also with pleasure that I welcome our distinguished panelists. Her Excellency Mrs. Nomzulo Shabalala, Deputy Mayor of Durban, South Africa. Dr. Sanjay Kumar, Director of All India Federation of Self-Employed Women's Association. Mrs. Vincenta Trotman, Community Leader and Member of the Administrative Board of Rural Water Supply in the Ngabe-Bugwa Indigenous Territory in the region of Panama. And Mr. Paul Hazen, Executive Director, Overseas Cooperative Development Council, International Cooperative Alliance. Without further ado, now I hand over the meeting to Dr. Schenk to moderate the interactive panel discussion.
Thank you so much, Mr. Vice President. Good afternoon. So we have the challenge of being the last session, but I trust that these are the voices from the real economy with very specific stories, policy recommendations for you that will remain a lively conversation, though we only have an hour, and I was given strict instructions based on our great translators, stop time of 6 p.m. We've got an hour. We'll try to get to Q&A as soon as we can so it can be interactive. I'm going to give a quick overview of where we're headed with the conversation. As many of you know, 40 to 80% of the real economy in many developing countries is composed of workers in the informal economy, and the panel today will discuss very practical policy initiatives and approaches that ultimately can help facilitate the transition from informal to formal employment. For those of you taking pictures and tweeting, I do hope you're using hashtag decent work, hashtag 600 million jobs, hashtag Action 2015, and do include the Twitter handle UN ECOSOC in your tweet. So here are the questions. We're going to do 3 rounds, 3 tiers, each panelist giving 2 or 3 minute response to each question. First question, stories from their communities. For the communities and constituencies that they represent, what are the priorities in the area of employment and decent work within the context of sustainable development? And how will the UN's focus on sustainable development help their efforts locally? That's the first question. We'll do a full round. Second question, it's more of a policy ask. What policies and support are needed from the public and private sector to promote employment creation and decent work for their communities and constituencies in order to achieve sustainable development? Are there trade-offs involved? How are they addressed? Last question, another round. The UN's Open Working Group on Sustainable Development Goals has proposed a goal, Goal 8, which everyone knows, related to decent work as part of the post-2015 development agenda. How relevant are these goals to their constituencies? Do these employment-related targets all across the 17 SDGs capture the integration of economic, social, and environmental dimensions of sustainable development? And how do we ensure that they are achieved in an integrated way without threatening the achievement of other goals and targets? So those are the 3 questions, 3 rounds. Again, hashtag decent work, hashtag 600 million jobs, hashtag Action 2015. The president is tweeting, so include the handle, and then you'll get retweeted. Let's create some social media here in this space. So I'm going to begin with Councillor Nomvuzo Shabalala to begin the first question, which is, for her community and her constituents, what are the priorities in the areas of employment and decent work? Shabala, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Program Director. First, let me appreciate the fact that we were invited. I think we're the only city that has been invited. I was asking my minister, what is it that made us to be invited? But thank